Welcome to Don't Quote Me on That. One day we will have an intro, but today is not that day. Hello, and welcome back to Don't Quote Me on That, where I talk about whatever I want. This week, something is happening that probably will never happen again, and honestly, I don't think has ever happened. I am doing a solo episode, which has happened, about a movie. I know, it's insane. But yeah, you're stuck with me today. There's no Kalina. And I am going to be talking about an Adam Sandler movie, which is the most insane part of all. Because first of all, I'm not really a movie person. Second of all, I'm not an Adam Sandler person. I dress like him, but that's kind of where the similarities end, you know? But yeah, I don't know why I'm pretending like this episode is not titled with the title of the movie. But a few weekends ago, I watched You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. And I have thoughts and opinions and feelings and stuff about it. This will definitely be a short show, but I think that's okay because the past couple of weeks we've been churning out video essay, like we've been working, mostly because when Kalina and I are together we don't know when to shut up, but you've only got half of that now, so we're gonna hope for 15 minutes. Definitely gonna get you out before 30. Anyway, I cannot describe what led me to putting this movie on. I don't think I've ever seen an Adam Sandler movie, but I have decided that I don't like him. I don't really have any basis on that. Well, no, I guess that's not true. I saw the movie Click that he was in, and I thought his character was kind of an asshole, and that kind of ruined it for me out the gate. That movie was from literally 2006, and he played a guy who got like a remote that let him control time, and he used it to his advantage in a way that 7-year-old Elanor was very affronted by, because I didn't appreciate that he was a man doing whatever he wanted, because I don't think men should be able to do that. Oh, goodness. I realized the other day that I just say things, and I feel like I should be more aware of that, but I'm never going to become more aware of that. Anyway, I think I've also seen 50 First Dates, and I liked 50 First Dates, but I just kind of liked Drew Barrymore. So that overrides it. I thought I don't remember 50 First Dates very well, but I think I thought it was cute. But yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Adam Sandler. I know that when he's on SNL, it kind of annoys me, but I don't think that's very fair. I decided that I hated him before I decided I didn't like him on SNL. But yeah, I decided to watch You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah because I saw a couple clips on TikTok and I thought it was funny. Which is kind of a shameful way to go about watching a movie, or like a shameful way to decide that you want to watch a movie. But that's the way I've decided an embarrassing amount of new media to consume in the past year. So I guess I'm just going to lean into it. I also feel like it's not that embarrassing because it's something a lot of people do. At least I've never sat and watched a full movie just based on TikTok clips. Mostly because I get bored after 30 minutes because I'm not able to use my phone because I watch my phone on TikTok, and I definitely have an attention span problem and a lot of other problems. But neither here nor there. what really cinched me for this movie, and this happens, it's one of the first scenes in the entire movie, but basically, Adam Sandler, he plays the dad, Idina Menzel plays the mom, and then Adam Sandler's two daughters play the two daughters of the couple, right? And there's a scene where they're getting ready for I don't remember if it was a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah. It might have just been a whatever the gender neutral equivalent is, because there was one of those, but I don't remember where it was. Like where it was in the film. I think it might have been this. But anyway, okay, here's what happened. The two daughters are getting ready, and the wife is getting ready, and the wife is pretty much ready. And she's giving out to the girls and saying, you need to hurry up, get ready. We need to leave on time. Normal mom stuff, okay? And the daughters are like, we're ready. Well, the youngest daughter, she's like, I'm ready, when she is like very clearly not ready. And then the mom realizes that she's not ready either because she can't find her earring. And so the mom kind of leaves to let the daughter get ready while the mom looks for her earring, and she's searching high and low. And finally the daughter comes out, and so both daughters are ready. The dad is ready. The mom is still looking for her earring. And then it turns out that the dad was holding the earring the entire time, to hide it from her, to give the daughters more time to get ready. And I don't know, I thought that was really sweet. Because it was funny and it was sweet, and I think it was a really good way to kind of start a movie, because it sets it up really well. Kind of it's a realistic family dynamic, and I'll get into this later. I don't think this entire movie was incredibly realistic, which is a stupid sentence to say because it's a movie and that's not the point of a movie. Point of a movie is to be entertaining, but I don't know. This movie also kind of, I don't know if I can say that I liked it, because it has a lot of elements that feed into why I don't like movies. But also it wasn't egregious, which is sometimes the best thing you can say about a movie. Anyway, we'll get into the plot a little bit. So like I said, mom, dad, two daughters. The youngest daughter, Stacy, she's the main character. She's young. I don't know what age a bat mitzvah is, but she's coming up to hers. And it's kind of, it's what she's been dreaming about forever, and she wants the perfect bat mitzvah, and she wants it to be like just the right amount of flashy and have the perfect theme and the perfect date and the perfect best friend. We've all seen movies, okay? She's idolizing it. She's ready for it. She's prepared. The only thing that is not prepared is her parents' budget, which isn't her fault, and there should be an unlimited fund for one party that happens in one afternoon, that is sort of also technically a religious celebration, but the party is what more people will remember. Anyway, Stacy also has a best friend named Lydia, and Lydia's birthday is before Stacy's, and so Lydia is going to have a bat mitzvah first, and they've worked out a deal between Lydia and Stacy where Stacy does Lydia's entrance video, welcome video, entrance video, I think it's called. And I think Lydia is writing a speech for Stacy in return. They're basically like swapping key elements of each other's bat mitzvah, because they're friends, and it's cute. Oh, speaking of how cute they are, I'm all over the place. There's the very first scene where they're getting ready for this bat mitzvah, bar mitzvah event, whatever it is. Stacy comes out in high heels, And the mom is immediately like, not even in a million years are you wearing those. Which is fair. I was a 13-year-old girl once too. Happens. 11, 12. I should know this. I'm going to look this up real quick. I feel like I shouldn't be. Okay. 12. 12 years in one day is technically when it happens. So 11. See, she's 11 for most of this because then she turns 12 and then one day. Anyway, we've all been an 11-year-old girl wanting to look, well, I don't know if we all have, but I have. Just wanting to look cool, wanting to look fun. And obviously, because if you've ever read any issue of 17 magazine, wearing high heels is what makes you fun and what makes an outfit look good automatically, especially for an event. But Stacy comes out in these heels and her mom is immediately just says, no, you're not doing that over my dead body. Normal mom stuff. And Stacy's like, but we're going to twin. Me and Lydia are going to twin. And the mom says, I don't care, basically. Then Stacy's big sister, Ronnie, steps in and is like, come on, it would be rude to make Stacy leave Lydia hanging. And the mom's like, fine. But the mom's basically like, fine, but you're going to regret it. Which is also true. And then Stacy takes a couple steps to get out of the car and like is wobbly, and then you can see her grab tennis shoes on the way out, but she grabs 2 pairs, and then Lydia gets in the car. She sees that Stacy's not wearing the heels and is like, what gives? But then Stacy gives her the sneakers, and it's just cute, okay? I like friendship. I think that's like a realistic kind of thing to do. And I don't know. I'm not going to go on too much about friendship and being considerate and how that's sweet to me, but it just is. And I think it's kind of like a very realistic and age-appropriate showing of how deep their friendship is. If that makes sense. I think most of this movie, as far as like, I think for the most part it's fairly realistic, and I think it does a good job of showing you instead of telling you, which can also be a problem. But anyway, they're friends. They're bestest friends. And Stacy has a crush on a boy. And in school there are also popular girls. And we find out through the course of human events, i.e. in the first act, that one of the popular girls has taken a liking to Lydia and has not really taken a liking to Stacy, which is another thing that I think realistic. I think the little pack of mean girls are a little bit too like plastics, but I didn't write the movie, and I'm not convinced I'm the perfect demographic, like the target demographic for this. But there's starting to be a rift in between Stacy and Lydia because Lydia's hanging out with the new girls. Lydia isn't like, I don't really get the sense that Lydia is trying to intentionally push Stacy out, but Stacy kind of feels pushed out, which I think is a very difficult thing to kind of counter, because it's not fair to have, you know, to hang your hat on one person for everything. But it kind of sounds like Lydia and Stacy have been thick as thieves for quite a while, and so if Lydia's distancing, if Lydia is getting other friends, I feel like you can't say no to your friends having other friends. But it's going to be an adjustment period, especially if you're 11 and this is the first time it's ever happened to you. But from all accounts, it kind of seems like Lydia is being respectful about it, and she's, you know, not being drastically mean for the most part. Until so they go to this, they have some stupid name for it. I think it's called The Ledge, which is the cliff, something. Anyway, basically, it's a river or a lake and some cliffs, and they go there to mess around. I would say they go there to party, but they're 11. They're not like drinking on this cliff. They're just, you know, you're sitting with the boy that you like and maybe holding a hand, you know, real scandalous stuff. But they get invited, Lydia and Stacey get invited together when they're at the cool girl's house. And Lydia's like, I don't want to go. You know, I'm scared of heights. And Lydia, who really wants to be liked by the cool girls, because, again, 11, convinces Lydia to go. Which is basically the downfall of the whole darn thing, if you will. Because when they're at the ledge, Lydia decides that she's going to impress her crush by jumping off into the water below. I think she gets dared, but it's not like she's making a very conscious choice to do it. It's not like she's being pressured into the dare, which I think is kind of an important distinction. And it's like painfully obvious that she's doing it to impress a boy she's got a painfully obvious crush on. But she jumps off to get into the water. And when she resurfaces, people are laughing. And at first she thinks, oh, you know, they're laughing. We're all having fun. They think I'm so cool. But it turns out that her pad had come off, and then there was a bloody pad floating right next to her. And understandably, when you're in the 6th grade and that happens, it feels like you've died. Because any amount of embarrassment is enough to kill an 11-year-old girl, or at least it was enough to kill me. And something that public, I think, would have done me in. Stacey seemed to bounce back. I mean, it took her probably about a month or two in the course of the movie. It probably would have taken me 6 years. There are things that happened in the 5th grade that I am still deeply, deeply embarrassed of. So good on her for being able to bounce back from that. But obviously, initially, she's not having a fun time. Everybody's laughing at her. When Stacey comes back up, she sees Lydia laughing. And even worse, she sees Lydia and her crush laughing at her. Not really together, but like definitely at the same time. And then Stacey decides that the boy, the crush she has on this boy, it's over. It's done with. They need to call it. It's dead. It has died. Which is very fair. If a boy laughed at me for that, I would also probably no longer have a crush on him. But I would also feel bad if my best friend laughed at me. And so Stacey decides she's done with the boy and decides she's done with Lydia as well because Lydia was laughing at her, which is fair. They also get into this little tiff where Lydia is like, you know, this wouldn't have happened if we'd never gone to the ledge because I told you I didn't want to go. You dragged me here and you're mad at me that you embarrassed yourself when you made all of these choices. You're the one who decided we had to come to here. You're the one who decided you had to jump off the bridge knowing, you know, you were wearing a pad, which like also I know you're 11, but like be smarter. I'm sure you're not the one who went to CVS. There's actually a joke that their dad went to CVS for them. But, like, be smarter. No boy is worth all that embarrassment. And it's also, like, you shouldn't... I know that 5th graders are cruel, and it's definitely an embarrassing thing to have happen. It's not that bad. I think I would have remembered they didn't like make a cruel nickname for her, which is good because they could have come up with something awful that would have stuck with her for life. But didn't really seem to do that, which is good. But after that, okay, big embarrassing thing happens. The girls aren't really friends. And Stacy is forlorn. Okay. She shows up at school, and it's even worse because who's being all giggly together? Yeah, I know. It's the ex-boyfriend, or the ex-best friend and the ex-crush. They're giggly together. They're dating. They're holding hands. It's scandalous. And Stacy, honestly, understandably, is distraught. And she gets so upset that she sends an anonymous Instagram message to, honestly, it was like a kind of like a yik yak, if you remember that. I'm dating myself there. Esque thing, or like a secrets Instagram account for the school where you can DM them rumors and they'll post it. And Stacy types in that Lydia has hair on her nipples, which, again, another thing that I'm sure would be incredibly embarrassing when you're 11, but in the grand scheme of things doesn't really matter. And also, that's really not a sentence I liked saying, but it is what happened. And then there's also, like I said, Lydia is working on Stacy's working on Lydia's entrance video. And while Stacy's incredibly upset, she decides to work on the entrance video. And this is when the movie kind of started to turn for me. Because, Stacy, she's not really portrayed as like a computer whiz in general, but apparently she's just got a good knack for editing videos. And it looks like it's something that Lydia and Stacy have always kind of bonded over, because we get this scene, and it's a pretty heartfelt scene at the beginning where Stacy's sitting with her computer and she's going through old videos of her and Lydia from back when they were like very, very young, just having a good time, kind of like embarrassing sleepover sort of videos. It was cute, and there was like good music playing, and just, she was wistful about her friendship. And then it turns, because of course it does. It's a movie, it has to turn. Stacy basically gets upset again, or maybe she was always upset, but it goes from, oh, we were best friends, we have been best friends forever, we have all this evidence and proof, and we had all these amazing times, and it turns to sabotage, it turns to revenge, where Stacy puts all of these embarrassing videos in the entrance video. She doesn't do anything with it, but she does basically mock up a humiliation entrance video. And at this point, we all know what's going to happen, And I almost turned the movie off at this, just because obviously what's going to happen is the embarrassing video is going to play at Lydia's bat mitzvah and ruin it, okay? I don't know why I was being coy about it. That's obviously what's going to happen. But I really, really wanted something else to happen. I don't really know what I wanted to happen. I think there were a couple avenues that I was hoping. I honestly kept watching the movie after this, because just out of sheer hope that it wouldn't end the way that I knew it was going to. And that's part of the reason I don't like watching movies, is that a lot of the time, not a lot, okay, I don't watch movies often enough to really be saying a lot of the time, but I don't like it when I can guess how a movie ends before it's halfway over. And even that is a little bit complicated because, on the other hand, I also don't like when the movie just ends in an incredibly nonsensical way, you know? Like, I don't want it to be incredibly predictable, but I also don't want it to be so off the wall that it's like, what are you even building to? I think that's part of the reason I'll connect these eventually, I think. It's part of the reason I like crime dramas so much is that in a crime drama, there's a lot of avenues it could go down. And if it does, like Only Murders in the Building, that first season, it's so perfect because you know at the end they're going to catch the killer, but there are so many clues for so many different people that it's impossible. I mean, not impossible, but there's a pretty large pool of suspects to pick from, and they kind of give you almost equal information on every way the whodunit could play out. And so by the time it's revealed, it's satisfying. And you can go back and you can watch it again and you can pick up on all the little clues that connected or the ones that didn't connect but on purpose, and you can kind of trace it back that way. But it's not like a Scooby-Doo where you know the first adult that they talk to is going to be the person who did it. You know, this movie, as soon as she pulled out her laptop with the videos and started messing up the thing, I knew it was going to happen. And just the amount of secondhand embarrassment I was gearing up for was unhealthy, okay? And I really think that the lesson could have been learned. Like, Stacy could have learned her lesson without having to publicly humiliate her best friend. And the way that it happens is basically the girl's mom, so Lydia's mom and Stacy's mom, they're not really completely in the loop of the fight. Lydia's mom is going through a divorce and just seems to not be a present parent. So obviously she does not notice that the girls are fighting. And Stacy's mom kind of, sort of knows something is up, but I don't think quite realizes the depth of it. And also, I'd imagine she doesn't think her child would sabotage an entrance video like that. And I want to say there's a time where the girls are fighting. It's when they're in the fight, and nothing, you know, the big dramatic entrance video being played hasn't happened yet. But the girls are in the same community, both, like, literally they live not too far apart from each other, but they go to the same Hebrew school, they go to the same school. Their parents run in the same circles. So I believe there's a scene where Lydia asks about the entrance video, or Lydia's mom asks while all the girls are both present, and I think their parents are present also. And Stacey's like, oh yeah, it's finished. But more to, like, just say whatever to get the conversation done with so she doesn't have to be face to face with her ex-best friend, essentially. I could be wrong about that. That might not be how it happens. But for some reason, Stacy's mother is led to believe that the entrance video is finished. And what happens is Lydia's mom talks to Stacy's mom and says, hey, I would like the video, we're going to play it. And Stacy's mom, who has got it going on, just sends the video over because it looks done to her. The video with the embarrassing stuff, all right? And I think it's better for me that it wasn't an intentional choice by Stacy to have this embarrassing video be the one that plays. that would have been overkill. Like, this was already overkill for me, but if it had been a conscious effort by Stacey, I think that would have driven me absolutely batty. I think I probably would have actually not finished it, just because of the amount of secondhand embarrassment that would have given me. I wouldn't have been able to cope. So it's not Stacey's fault that the embarrassing video plays at Lydia's bat mitzvah, but it does play, and I've blocked that scene out of my memory. I remember I had to put it on double speed and just let it play through. I couldn't. It was so bad, and it was also just like, I won't get into details of the video clips themselves because I've purged a lot of it from my memory, because I don't think it's things that need to be taking up spots in my brain. But like, it was embarrassing sleepover videos, and they were like kind of realistic embarrassing sleepover videos, and there were, jokes about a lot of things, and they were realistic, jokes that whatever 10-year-olds would make at the time. But like, I don't think we need to be putting child actors in embarrassing positions like that. I just don't think that's fair to them. I think I'm also just, having literal children in media is something I've just become increasingly uncomfortable with. And I know, having them on a movie set where there are more formal rules and regulations and practices in place is very different than a family vlog sort of situation. But a lot of my discomfort with children in media have come from the family vlogs, and just, it's kind of turned me off from having children. I don't want to say having children in media at all, because I think there is a way to do it in a healthy way, but like, there should be no reason that children are being embarrassed on the big screen, or children are doing, I don't know. It's difficult to parse out, but I feel like some of the embarrassing entrance video clips were just a little bit too heavy-handed for a literal child to have to be putting out on Netflix. Like, I get they wanted them to be realistic and be embarrassing enough to, actually cause embarrassment in the realm of the film, but I don't know. It was a little bit too much for me. I didn't appreciate it. So it happens though. And Lydia and Stacey get into an altercation, and it's just a whole mess, okay? Understandably. I think that Stacey could have learned her lesson without publicly embarrassing her best friend. It wasn't her fault, but I just feel like it would have been a lot more interesting for the kind of the realization or the big conclusion, whatever, okay? For her change of heart to actually have come from her and not needed just a big thing, okay? It was just unnecessary to put her through that, to put this poor fictional girl through all that. Both poor fictional girls, okay? Like, she could have, what I originally thought was going to happen when Stacey started watching the embarrassing videos, is that alone would have prompted her to have a change of heart, like that alone would have made her think, oh, Lydia is my best friend. I know something embarrassing happened. I know she's kissing some boy, but that's all he is. He's just some boy. He's not worth losing my best friend over. I think that would have, A, not have put me through so much embarrassment, but B, been a very low key way to show like a big change of heart. Mostly, I just didn't like how it ended, and I didn't like that I guessed it. That makes me sound like a brat. I don't like when movies are predictable, but I also don't like when they're not predictable. I'm very hard to please, obviously. Like Avengers. Some of the Avengers movies with all their, there's no, we've got to turn things on our head. I know we're a superhero movie, but we got to do something different. But then the different thing that they do is just make the movies more confusing and make them worse. Like, some tropes exist for a reason, and it's okay to feed into them. It really is. That's why they're there. But you don't... The answer to... Avengers was a stupid thing for me to bring up, because that gets me separately upset. Because the point of a superhero movie is that the day is saved at the end, okay? That's the whole point of them. You don't have to confuse people. It's okay for a superhero movie to end with the superhero winning, because that's kind of how they're supposed to end. There are also just way too many Avengers movies, or Marvel movies, whatever, at this point. You need to stop beating a dead horse. We're good. If we're gonna have to have another Avengers Marvel movie, just let it be 2 hours of... that's an embarrassing way to end this sentence. Just, give me some glamour shots of the Winter Soldier, and that's it. That's the whole movie. Just, like, artistic close-ups of the arm, and, like, I don't even know what storyline I don't care what storyline you put to it, okay? Have the storyline just be him walking through a day, but shot in a sexy way. Because that's really the only reason I would ever see a Marvel movie, is if there's an abundance of the Winter Soldier. Because I think the mechanical arm is sexy in a way that I need to be committed for. Which, yeah, is embarrassing, but I stand by it, and I have stood by that for a very long time. And I also forgot where I was before now. I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh, I was complaining about the movie that I'm supposed to be talking about. But I want it on record that I got distracted by another movie. So that's me talking about 2 movies, which I think is more movies than I've talked about all year on this show. So go me. Anyway, unnecessary big embarrassment for Lydia at her bat mitzvah. It's kind of ruined. Sucks for her. Like, genuinely, truly sucks for her. I don't think she was behaving incredibly poorly. Like, yeah, it's kind of a dick move to go after your best friend's crush, but also you're 11, there's no way they're getting married. And so things are incredibly tense between Stacy and Lydia. They're not talking. Fair enough. While doing this, or a little bit after this, it's Stacy's bat mitzvah. And one of the kind of journeys that Stacy has been going on while not being friends with Lydia is still trying to get the boy. So she has been volunteering at a retirement home, but it's the retirement home that the boy's grandma lives in. And so she's really just doing that to see the boy, which is silly. And Sarah Sherman plays... oh, goodness. I don't think she's the cantor, but she might be. She might be. I don't know. Anyway, Sarah Sherman and Stacy have this talk at Hebrew school where Sarah Sherman's character is like, yeah, doing something that, like, you know, under the guise of doing good, but doing it for the wrong reasons is not the same thing as doing something good. To do something good, it has to come from a good place. That, you know, something having a net good doesn't really mean as much in the eyes of God if you're doing it for deceit or doing it for some selfish reason, which is a good lesson to learn, and also fair. And so this is very heavy on Stacy's heart as she comes into her bat mitzvah, especially because she's had that conversation. She's had the big accidentally embarrassing her best friend incredibly publicly. So she does another thing that I think was slightly unnecessary. Like, it made sense in the context of the film, but I just thought it was a little heavy-handed. But at this point, the movie couldn't really be saved for me. Where in the bat mitzvah, the like ceremony part of it, essentially, you read from the Torah, and instead of doing that, Stacy stops, and when she gets up there, she sees that Lydia's family isn't there, and she's just kind of overwhelmed with all of these feelings, okay? And she tells the room, she's like, I messed up, I let a boy who kind of sucks drive a wedge between me and my best friend, and now my best friend isn't even here, and I ruined her bat mitzvah, and I was doing all these good deeds, but I wasn't doing them for good, and so they don't count, and I need to be able to make this up to her, and and then she tries to like leave and go get Lydia right then, and then her dad, Adam Sandler, is like, please finish what we're here for, please continue reading the Torah and finish that, because that's what this whole day is about, which is fair. Kind of a W moment from the dad. I'm so sorry I just said that. But she does finish it, and then she literally on foot runs to Lydia's house to get her to apologize. And another instance of this was heavy-handed, but I think it was cute. Stacy changes her party last minute to be basically Lydia's makeup bat mitzvah, which, if the parents were concerned about the budget for one bat mitzvah, I don't really understand how we turned it around so quickly to basically get 2 bat mitzvahs. I think they just kind of went with the, honestly, kind of a lazy excuse of Lydia's parents are going through a divorce, and her mom just wants to spend as much of her dad's money as possible, and so that's how they wormed their way into kind of being able to do whatever they want. But whatever, that's neither here nor there. Stacy basically puts it together so that Lydia gets a makeup bat mitzvah with the correct entrance video, like the perfect entrance video. And they party, and they laugh, and they're friends again, and they have a good time, and a different boy comes over to dance with Stacy, a boy who isn't I feel bad calling a 12-year-old boy a jerk, but unfortunately he kind of was. And it's a very cute ending, and I mean, obviously it happens exactly how you think it's going to. Lydia and Stacy become best friends again. They start to do good deeds together out of the goodness of their heart. It's cute. I can't say I liked it, but it was cute. I thought it was, the acting was pretty decent. The older sister character, who I didn't really touch on too much, she was really fun. I couldn't tell exactly how old she was. I want to say closer to 18. I think she was still in high school. But she was just kind of there to make snarky little comments, which is one of the best things anybody can do. That's usually my job as well. But one cute little running thing that she has, the older sister character, she and her best friend will sit at bar or bat mitzvahs watching movies, and in the first couple, there's 2 boys that come up, and basically the boys are like, oh, is that da-da-da? And trying to guess the movie, and the girls are like, no, it's not, it's something else, but we saw that movie that you suggested and we hated it. Which is funny, and that's how they're flirting with the boys, which is even funnier because I also flirt by being mean. Sorry. But at the end, at the joint Stacy Lydia bat mitzvah, the older sister character, her best friend, and the boys are watching a movie together, and some random chick comes up and they have the same conversation of, no, that movie is awful, I hated it. But now the four of them are doing it together to some other unsuspecting party, and I just think that's a cute full circle moment. Yeah. Sorry I went off about movies and why I don't like them for a little bit there, but that was You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. Would I watch it again? Probably not. Would I recommend it? I mean, maybe if you are 13 and have 2 hours to kill. It's not it's cute. It is. If you can handle secondhand embarrassment, which I can't, I think overall it's got a pretty good message because we should be nicer to our friends. But I don't think you need to publicly embarrass your best friend to get that message across. But, we're coming up on time here. Way longer than I thought I was going to talk. But thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope next time it's not just me, because these are hard and I feel like I consistently embarrass myself by saying too much. But then also, weirdly, I don't say enough. Anyway, catch us on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram and wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks for listening. Don't quote me on that. One day we'll have an outro, but it's not today.